So we're here to solve this TomTom called 1 versus 3 by Ashish Kumar. You'll see that all the values on the left are tripled to get their forms on the right, 100 becoming 300, and so forth. The 30 is a give me cage of 5 and 6. The 10 could be 4 plus 6 or 2 times 5, so not as much there. I think everyone's attention will probably be drawn to the 100 and the 300. Those are both products. Those have two factors of 2 and two factors of 5. So across this cage, we need two 5s. I don't have a better way to notate that right now, but we'll just sort of mark a lot of 5s in these cells. This 300 also needs two 5s, but they can't be in this fifth column, so there's going to be a 5 in these two columns. One way I can actually mark this maybe a little better is put on the drawn edges and corners and put in a 5 note there. Eliminate these, put in a 5 note here. That means there's a 5 down in the bottom row in these two, which means working with this, there will always have to be a 5 in one of these cells. That eliminates this option. That's a good start. Those two 5s mean we can't put a 5 in the cell. It has to be up above. That means this is the 6-4 sum only. And where this is a product of these values, it's never taking this 3. So I think we put a 3 over here, which will help us out. And that puts a 3 in here. And I think that's going to be really useful because that's now the factor of 3 in this cage. So what looks like we probably still need to carefully consider, there's a 3 here, is the values of 2s or 4s which get us up to these spaces. And so let's start maybe on the left. Right now we've got 2 digits accounted for, 2 5s. This still needs two factors of 2, and then everything else is going to have to be a 1. So it could be 1 1 2 2 5 5, and that looks like it works because we just have to put two 1s in. We get another 2 here and a 2 somewhere there. What it can't be is 4 times 5 times 5. If that's the case, then I need 3 1s. And that one already eliminated from this column means that that doesn't work. So we need to get a 1, another 1. This will actually have to be a 2-5 pair, and then in the remaining cells are going to be these values. So I can actually mark, let me take this note off now and just sort of put the exact values that are possible in these cells. So that looks like a key breakdown in this grid. It's in particular limiting, except for the digits 1, 2, and 5, some of the things in these cells. Putting some more that I know actually now that I've moved this 3 in, this will have to be a 6 on the left, this will have to be a 6 over here. These will have to be 6s. We still have some key constraints around the digit 3, so let's maybe look over here and think the same way we did before. We need two factors of 2, and that could be just two 2s, and that leaves behind 1 1, or it could be a 4 and then two 1s. And a thing to really note is how are we going to fill enough of these cells if we're doing that 1 2 option? And let me describe what I mean. Right now we effectively have a constraint in the grid that these cells just have 1 2 5 around them. And if I also made the constraint that this 300 cage was 1 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 5 times 5, then adding in the meaning of 3 to this group, I also now have these cells are only in the 1 2 3 5 space, which means 4 6 is here, 4 6 is here in white. You sort of get that idea. So let's recognize that we then have two rows, this row and this row, that have 1 2 3 5 forced in them, which means we have two 3s we're putting to the grid. And that means we're going to have two 3s in the 300 cage. So there's a constraint that goes across these groups, which is effectively that you need to put a 4 in this 300 cage and not two 2s. And I don't know where those go yet, but the breakdown to make this whole grid work is to recognize a 4 has to be in the space. And the rest of the digits will be 1 4 5. This can be 1 4 5. This can be 1 3 4. This can be 1 3 4. This can be 1 4 5. This can be 1 5 right now. So what will that do for us? It puts a 2 in this cell. We've got some constraints actually moving up here with like a 3 4, stuff of that sort. Probably the most key thing will be working out where those 1s go. And I said there were two 1s here. and there are 2 ones in this whole group since it's taking that 4. So we have to get a 1 into this second row to be able to get a total of 3 more in these cells. And that 1 here pushes down this 5, puts in this 5, puts in this 2, puts in this 1, which now means that there's a 1 in these cells and a 1 in these cells. This is now a 2 with a 3, and if this is a 2 here, it would require the 1, not this 5. If this is a 3 here, it requires a 1, not the 6. So I think in all circumstances, a 1 goes in here, which puts a 1 in here, puts a 1 in here. That moves the 3 up. This is now 4 with 5. To finish that out, in this set of cells, then 4 is to the left, 6 is to the right, moves this to the left. Puts in a 5, puts in a 5 and a 2, puts in a 5 and a 4. This row has 2 and 4 left over, so 2 here, 4 there, 2 coming up. We have 3 and 6 to finish this row. That moves down the 6, puts in this 4, puts in a 2. This is 4, 3, finishes out 2 and 3. So a tricky puzzle if you didn't work through the critical aha in the middle. Again, that aha is after you recognize this is 1, 1, 2, 2, 5, 5. Over here you can't have 1, 2, 2, 3, 5, 5, because having all those 2's in the space will keep you from being able to put anything but 2 3's in this group. That you can't have a quadruplet, which is going to double that 3 again. And recognizing it then has that 4, the 1's are the ones that sort of have to sit in 4 cells, and putting in this 1 trickles out the rest of the grid pretty quickly. So really hard puzzle if you don't see that aha, and hopefully this video gave you some sense of different ways to look through these tough TomToms to make progress. Thanks, we'll see you again soon.